Great. Well, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. I'm Magdalena Grudzinski Hall. I'm the Interim Executive Director of Global Carolina and the Director of the Education Abroad Office here on our main Columbia campus. I've been in the Education Abroad Office since 2014, and I stepped into the interim role that I hold right now this past July 1. In the last 5 years that I have been on this campus, actually 6 years that I've been on this campus, we've seen tremendous success in regards to our education abroad programming, constant demand of student growth and participation. We were really proud last year of being number 3 in the SEC with the number of students graduating with a degree and having had a study abroad experience. And also we've had tremendous success with our faculty-led programming. We've seen an increase in programming by 23%, which led to the development of a faculty full-time support staff member position in the Education Abroad Office, and who I work very closely with, and that is our Global Collaborations Manager.
Good morning, I'm Jenna Reese-White, and I am the Global Collaborations Manager for the Education Abroad Office. My role includes working with our faculty and staff leading courses abroad and to support and communicate with them to build successful programs. My role is responsible for training and advising faculty in all facets of leading a program abroad, including university policies, health and safety, marketing and recruitment, and budgeting. I have been supporting faculty programming since 2018, facilitating workshops, building training modules, and generally preparing faculty to take students abroad. Recently, I created a Blackboard for all faculty and staff who have led, will lead, or are interested in leading abroad in the future, where they can find all relevant forms, training, important travel announcements, upcoming deadlines, and other pertinent information to global classrooms. So in today's session, you will be able to learn the following objectives. We'll establish the historical context of online learning international programming. You'll be familiarized with the resources available to begin building a virtual education abroad experience. And we're looking to inform you all about upcoming training opportunities and resources. As we cover our information today, please feel free to type any questions in the chat, and we'll also have time to answer them at the end of today's session.
Great. So where have we been? Well, we recalled 800 plus University of South Carolina students from spring semester study abroad this past year. Borders were closing and programs were shutting down in country. And so with that, all institutions and our partner programs did a quick shift to online learning until the end of their terms. Once spring semester ended and it was clear that the impacts of COVID-19 were going to continue, these same partners and institutions began evaluating how to best serve students in international programming without the international traditional travel component. We saw an instant pivot by third-party providers to virtual internships. Our office was simultaneously instantly forced to delve into technological options with on-campus partners and otherwise to continue to support our students who needed to complete their programs in spring and for the future of students who were soon to depart. There was also a demand on our campus, both from students and faculty, to continue internationalized learning. However, we quickly learned that there is a varying level of comfort from faculty in regards to online technology available to them. So we began to research how technology was used in the past to facilitate online international learning. We found that the SUNY system began their collaborative online international learning, or what you might see in the literature labeled as COIL, programming in 2004, and had been improving on it ever since. The COIL model paired 2 courses up at 2 different universities to complete a project or coursework together, all virtually. Faculty and students from the US would video chat with a group of students and their instructor in Japan, for example, and the course's learning outcomes would be built together. What struck us was their model for hybrid virtual exchange, where a pre-existing course incorporates third-party or outside materials into the professor's lectures for a course with international components. And so within our Education Abroad office, we assessed how we could support and guide the developmental conversation of how we could shift to virtual education abroad. We created our lists of requirements and gaps in programming caused by restrictions on physical travel. And not only did we need to convince others that the continuation of our programming was imperative, but we also needed to convince ourselves that we could support this. Study abroad is a foundational experience for the GLD Global Pathway here on our campus and in our university, so we were so sensitive to the integrity of the proposed virtual experiences. With that, we had to evaluate our policies and procedures of a physical study abroad experience and how we could transfer that into a virtual platform so that students could complete their degrees and certifications without any hindrances.
As such, we took what we learned from partners in the field like SUNY with COIL and created our Global Learning Experience portfolio. These programs are faculty-led and focus on internationalizing a current academic syllabus to incorporate international cultural elements into the curricula. The difference between our GLEs and global classroom programs is in the delivery of these courses. GLEs are strictly virtual. Each GLE will be folded into our typical review processes with a few differences. There will not, for instance, need to be a review of the health and safety of the location traveled to. At the same time, in order to hit experiential benchmarks, each GLE is required to have a minimum of 25 hours of real-world experience for the Center for Integrative and Experiential Learning here on campus. The requirements are outlined in our Global Classroom Resources Blackboard, which all current and previous faculty have access to. All faculty and staff interested in leading a program are encouraged to submit their email to our website or to myself to be added to this site. Ultimately, our GLEs accomplish the internationalized goals of the faculty leading the course while keeping students engaged entirely online. GLEs differ from typical UofSC online courses in that experiential and internationalized requirements are met through one course alone. We know that faculty would need support in pivoting their course from physical to online, so we set about creating guidelines. The document you see here, which you can find on our Blackboard, maps out detailed course requirements and recommendations for faculty to follow while building their GLE syllabus. Additionally, staff from our office serve as a touch point on building the course to facilitating elements of the course like orientation. We embrace the need for collaboration across campus between ourselves and faculty and other campus partners to bring students meaningful and robust programming. So what does a GLE look like? Much like our global classrooms, GLEs are academically focused. However, in terms of an online international course, students will interact with guest experts and lecturers from abroad, participate in virtual tours of a city, building, or other location, and even actively learn through virtual platforms like Engage or Second Life. When students interact with their international locations in these manners, they will also reflect on their own with the instructor or with one another. The Education Abroad Office supports this engagement, starting with a synchronous orientation and ending with a synchronous unpacking session. These sessions are tailored to the location or locations of the GLE and the learning outcomes the instructor or instructors want to emphasize. For an in-depth example of this programming, we encourage you to attend the next session in today's series, Virtual Study Abroad, The Final Frontier, led by Sandy Strict and Karen Edwards. Sandy and Karen led the pilot for our GLE programming this past May and can speak to the pivot from their much beloved global classroom in Italy to their virtual iteration of it in May. In conjunction with our addition of GLEs to our Education Abroad portfolio, we have created training opportunities and guides for this programming. Faculty and staff can access these guides on Blackboard, as well as a session on virtual programming from a recently passed faculty symposium. There are additional training opportunities for GLEs coming up shortly, and we'll touch on those at the end of today's session. We also offer various virtual programming within our office for students. Students have access to virtual workshops, one-on-one advising appointments, including drop-in advising, all online, and live chat on our website. Additionally, we have switched our application process from a partial paper process to a completely online one. Our third-party providers, known as our global partner providers, have also made the shift to online programming. Beyond their fourth shift in the spring, these providers are now offering students sustained virtual internships and coursework. With the addition of online programming, our providers' options for students have opened up new avenues for students to study and intern from the safety of their homes.
So the biggest challenge that faces physical travel right now is the question of how we keep our students safe. Normally, our SITOC, and I'm seeing some questions about our acronym. So SITOC is our Student International Travel Oversight Committee, and OPAC, which stands for the Overseas Program Approval Committee. They take the political climate of the destination into consideration when discussing travel approvals. However, now we also have to think about where the destination falls on the scale of COVID-related safety concerns. And equally important to consider is the person-centered risk and risk tolerance, which, as you can imagine, varies from one individual to another. We reference established charts for metrics such as the CDC, the Department of State, our Harvard metrics, WHO efficiency of care, whether specific countries would welcome US citizens or not. And we also take into account the potential for students needing to be recalled home quickly, like we had to do in the middle of the spring 2020 semester. We are also currently evaluating our insurance policies for their coverage because the university does not require students to purchase trip insurance. It's an individual choice, for instance, but we are now assessing this for the future of student travel. I would also add that we are fortunate, one of the few universities to actually have a position on staff that focuses on global health, safety, and security. You all might have interacted with Morgan Morris Inabinet, and she is integral to a lot of our safety evaluation conversations and processes. So despite all of these challenges, we continue to support education abroad experiences. We know our students and our faculty still desire to travel abroad. For example, we have 350 plus applications already sitting in our system for this coming spring semester. Now, typically we're sitting at around the 800 mark. I know that a lot of our students are waiting for our decision on spring semester that is coming next week. And I anticipate that that number will increase and more students will raise their hand to want to travel abroad. Simultaneously, our faculty remain engaged with approximately 50 faculty-led proposals, or global classrooms that we call them, in our system for this academic year. So what do we do if we cannot physically travel? This is an opportunity to build a virtual learning portfolio that will hold a permanent place in our future programming. For students who are bound to their location in the United States for physical, family, or work-related reasons, for students who face extraordinary financial needs that are not met, for students who are not given the flexibility in their UofSC schedules and curricula, and for students who are simply not ready to travel abroad, virtual programming provides these students with the opportunity to engage in education abroad.
With the addition of our GLEs, we want to support faculty and staff in their endeavors to build virtual faculty-led programs. As such, we have created a mini-series with CTE to train those who are interested. We will provide participants with the knowledge, requirements, and tools to successfully build and conduct a GLE. At the end of the mini-series, participants who attend all 3 sessions will receive a digital badge to display in their email signature professional web pages. The first session of the series will take place next Friday, October 16th. You can still register for the session and the rest of the series online through CTE. At the end of this mini-series, participants will be able to propose a GLE for as early as this upcoming Maymester 2021. While we find this programming beneficial for seasoned faculty who are unable to lead abroad this year due to physical travel restrictions, GLEs will also give experience to faculty who are new to leading an international course. To further our support of providing the tools to succeed in this new programming, we are committing to a virtual version of our annual International Perspectives on Higher Education, or IPHE, which will focus on Ghana. Not only will participants learn about Ghana and connections to higher education, they will also learn how to build both a global classroom and GLE through using Blackboard and interacting with guest lecturers remotely. Faculty are encouraged to submit a GLE about 6 months prior to their desired course date. As we are supporting faculty training on GLEs throughout this month and the beginning of November, we will accept GLE proposals for May until January 15th. If you are interested in submitting a GLE proposal or attending our virtual IPHE, you can find information about both through our Blackboard organization or you can email me. My email will be displayed on our next screen. We hope you will join us in this move to virtual programming in support of our student involvement in global education on campus.